Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Societal Narcissism, and this video is sponsored by contribution from Paul and partially sponsored on a sponsorship by Tier. And here's Paul's story. So Paul basically sent me a link to a Quora, however you say that, thread on. I think he was banned because of another user who's running, I guess, an anti-narcissism thread. So it's pretty involved. So let's just get into it. This is Paul Polymath. The abuser only stops when they fear you. The defeat of victim mimics featuring societal narcissism. Okay, so that's a link to when this is done. Once upon a time, there was a man who researched and analyzed the psychology of narcissists. One day, he made a breakthrough. He connected the dots to a mimicry only the most foul of parasites would employ, victim mimicry. And those who would live by such evil means were deemed victim mimic. Victim mimics use victim mimicry to use the reputation of victims. This is an evil act. For a victim, it is not what the victim mimic is. They are 99 problems, but a real victim ain't one. The most evil thing about the victim mimic is they are responsible for making it that much harder to believe real victims, including the victims they paint as their victimizers. How can they be a victim if there's no one victimizing them? Someone has to be to blame. At best, they're going to blame society, ego, path, time, what they won't teach you in school. This video is, I tried to pull that up. That video is private, so I can't really view it. These criminally aggressive liars are the very reason we can't take what real victims say at face value. They make it hard. It's kind of like the false rape accusation when there's a real rape. It makes it hard to be believed. But this comes with the narcissism community, and I knew this was coming from the beginning. Eventually, the narcissist was going to incorporate this and use it for their own benefit and make themselves into the victim. Once they learned the vernacular, the terminology, how we speak, and how we call them out, they were eventually going to turn it around to use it against us. They found more ways of getting in need than the rest of us could ever imagine. They developed a special skill for it, which was the only ability they showed. Ayn Rand, describing the way of the victim mimic without realizing that's exactly what they are. Victim mimicry is what victim mimics use to appear as the victim and not evil. Right. Which is like the victim mimicry was always going to happen. It was always going to happen in this community. They were going to learn. They were going to look, the narcissist never accepts defeat. Never. Much like the communists and the Marxists. They never accept defeat. And it's in the Marxism handbook, it's in the communism handbook, it's in rules for radicals. Take somebody's strength, turn it around to use it against them. That's no different than what the narcissist does in real life. They never will try to appear as an evil victim. That would defeat the purpose of victim mimicry, which is to secure victim status for themselves and even deny it to their real victims. Ever heard of DARVO, deny, accuse, reverse, victim, and offender? Victim mimicry is a particular concept that is vital to understanding covert aggressors. All mimicry is about deception, and deception is something covert aggressors use to remain covert so their aggressions are successful. Advanced attackers are discreet and are capable of remaining undetected, all the while, or simply until it's too late. This is the story of a man, Paul Polymath, who was determined to study and expose this underestimated and deceptive evil, an evil that historically would cause a societal collapse whenever it had the power to enact its victim mimic utopia, which results in society-ending dystopia, which is what's going on now. Put a clown in charge of a castle, and the clown does not become a king. Rather, the castle becomes a circus. A total inversion of justice and fairness. And that's what evil is, purposely wronging the right and never righting a wrong. As time went on, his writings didn't fit the narrative, so they were mostly shadow banned from any searches or algorithms. But still, he continued on. His work was not yet complete. He had made many, many posts to shine light on this ever-shifting deception. Then one night, an attack on his work came without warning, and a convicted female pedophile, Lucy Hoggy, I guess that's how you say Hoggy, Haggy. We'll call her Haggy. Lucy Haggy was the attacker, who also goes by the alias L.W. Hawksby, and had claimed she was the original no-contact coach. And it's her page. The original no-contact coach, expert on narcissist, psychology student, MH Foundation degree, 3 times published author. And I guess this is her page. Okay, here's her page over here. So this is her full page. That's her. Okay, typical. Typical. 4,417 followers. The book No Contact, No Narc, a workbook on 30 insightful tips on putting no contact in place and keeping it in place. Search it up on Amazon. You can Google L.W. Hawksby to find my podcast, and YouTube also. I added no contact coaching to my business a few years ago, and I've helped around 35 women. Men are welcome so far. I did it for free at the start, and now I charge a small hourly fee, paid only after the session. No contact coaching is not a regulated industry, and reading my extensive bio answers here. Okay, yada yada. Off Quora, I'm an author, podcaster, YouTuber. My next book, so I have another book. I specialize in NPD abuse, but feel my personal experience of stalking, rape, sexual abuse, coercive control, financial abuse, false allegations, and triangulation are what enhance my understanding of narcs up several levels. I write as L.W. Hawksby to build SEO and optics around my books. I now use that pseudonym universally across my professional endeavors and have done since officially launching in 2019. If I wrote using my real name, the people in my books and past would be readily identifiable, so a pseudonym is important on varying levels. Also, if you're a convicted pedophile, I would imagine it would come in kind of convenient too. I started researching NPD in 2016 when I realized domestic violence and stalking I was experiencing due to 2 men with narcissistic personality disorders. They involved others also women. My parents were narcs, and I had a narcopath female friend also. I'm 42 years old and now narc-free. My books are Dangerous Normal People, Understanding Casanova Psychopaths, and The Narcissistic Virus. The Notch, The Forgivers Club. Each book features narcs heavily, 1 memoir study, and 2 fictional novels heavily inspired by true events. I help others understand dark tetrad abusers like psychopaths and narcissists, as understanding leads to validation and closure. Over and above my 2006 foundation degree in MH and social care, I reached via 3 years of study of 3 diplomas and long career in charity sector 2000 to 2015. I recently commenced study for my certificate in psychology with a sociology, criminology, investigative psychology modules. It will be 1st October 2022 to August 2023. I completed a mini course on understanding trauma. Anyone wants more details on my qualifications, simply DM me. In September 22, I closed the deal on a property in the Greek islands. I function as a luxury holiday let, with profits going into providing free respite holidays for NPD abuse victims. I hope to do cookery, creative writing, and no-contact classes there. Considering I have nearly 20 years social issues, work experience, and other qualifications such as suicide intervention, domestic abuse training for trainers, for medics against violence, I feel confident in helping people here best I can. I am entitled to a safe platform to help others, to peace, continued growth. It's illegal to slander, defame, and lie about someone online with the sole aim of impacting their income and causing them fear and alarm. So report anything you see that breaches Quora's policy. So it seems like she's already preparing herself for incoming. I guess this is linked to her work. Does your personality sort of make you abuse people without reason? Why are you asking me? How do I redirect deep desires? What? Why do narcissists call their exes crazy when they know very well it isn't true to drive the exes crazy? Okay, so she's basically giving narcissism advice here. And I'm 46. I've been with 2 narcissistic partners, 10 in 9 years. What are the next steps to avoid dealing with these type of people again? So this is how, if you use it, the only time I've been on this site is when, like, I Google a question and it refers me to this. So back to Paul's story. By the way, I remain unmoved if someone tries to say, wait, they're a hebophile or a euphophile or have paraphilia NOS. They're a fucking pedo through and through. I don't put much weight on the IDC-10, but it does include early pubertal age and its definition of pedophilia, meaning age plays the deciding factor more than the maturity of the body itself. Something I agree with. A child is a child no matter how far through puberty they are. What was it that the pedos and their sympathizers, who are likely pedos, tried calling themselves? A MAP, minor attracted person. Well, she was certainly attracted to a minor, and then some, wasn't she? So she fits the fucking rebranding pedos want for themselves. Case fucking closed. Okay, but what's the story? Like, what is the story of her getting caught? So you're saying she's a pedophile. By the way, those special words are under debate to be subtle of pedophilia, which means it still falls under pedophilia. They fall under pedophilia. The term pedophilia is commonly used by the gender public and the media, at least in the English-speaking world, to refer to any sexual interest in minors below the local age of consent and or age of majority, regardless of their level of physical or mental development, as it should be and continue to be for that pedo bitch. Quora should, but likely won't, be absolutely embarrassed for this shit show as they have helped make a reality. If I was running a site and this shit happened on it, heads would roll, as it should. So I'm imagining the proof of the pedophilia is coming up, because he says he does prove it. So none of this was apparent at first. What was apparent was a total ban and censorship of the Paul Polymath account. Quora moderation banned you from Quora. User status changed by Quora moderation, Paul Polymath. Quora moderation bailed Paulie Polymath from Quora. This account has been banned. Click here to learn more about discussions. And here's his account. Credentials, highlights. Zero answers, 0 posts, 0 comments. So what are we looking at here? Paul Polymath, credentials and highlights, 119 this month, narcissist analysis, victim mimic, narcs, narshole, and the lonely monster. 0 answers, 0 posts, 0 comments, and Quora moderation were in on it. You see, it hadn't been the first time they deleted things. Paul Polymath had made such having a topic to reach more people. The topic victim mimic was removed. No. By this time, they did it to erase everything from him, to take everything he achieved from anyone and everyone. The covert aggressor, much like the ant mimic spider, covert aggressors will initially appear friendly via aggressive mimicry to hide their venomous true intentions. The covert aggressor knows destroying a person's reputation can and likely will destroy a person's life. The covert aggressor attacks a target's reputation and credibility under the guise of concern or the voice of reason. The character assassination distorts any truth for maximum damage and will be nothing like what happened in reality except Darvo. Covert aggressors know how to lie by both commission and omission. The defamatory smear campaign is carefully refined as they leave themselves an escape hatch known as plausible deniability if called out on their lies. They lie on purpose with untrue, damaging statements to poison others against their target, who they pretend to care about but secretly want ruined, enslaved, dead, or a combination of those things. An absolute victory requires permanent silencing and censoring of their victim. The covert aggressor wants the only, say, 100% ownership in the matter and means going on a mission to destroy, so nothing remains to challenge their false narrative. Nothing good will remain, as the victim is eventually painted as all bad and ultimately erased from history. Quora was not open, transparent, and honest with him. They never were. Paul had to contact their support team, likely the very culprits in on the abuse, to fix the situation. Well, that went as you'd expect. They didn't fix anything. Instead, they decided to lie their way out of it. How? We were unable to locate a Quora account associated with the email address. Consider the following scenario where what they said was a lie. We are unable to locate a Quora account associated with the email address, but they actually can. This allows the liar a mostly risk-free lie. This is them testing the waters to see if you'll just give up. If you've been told they can't just find it to go away now. Right. I mean, that's what is a major in the tool bag is trying to frustrate you, trying to demoralize you just to make you give up and walk away, to make you think there's no hope. You've been wronged, let it go, forgive and forget, and let the abuser and the liar lying to you off the hook. Leaving the victim with nothing, and the coincidences starting to add up a little too much for the coincidence theorists. The answer is yes. And therefore, nothing will be done, and you, a victim of victim mimic, are left with nothing. When pressed on this matter, they wrote saying they'll do an investigation. Well, this was yet another tactic to turtle and breadcrumb and future fake. The breadcrumbing tactic is the liar's way to buy themselves more time with lies, where they will say they are still working on it even though they aren't. They're just trying to delay it all the way. Breadcrumbs of false hope leading you down a false trail with a big fuck you at the end of it. And this is a tactic a lot of companies use too, especially when they owe you money or they owe you something and they just want you to go away. We're working on it. We're working on it. Or you're not working on anything. I showed the account is very much and still tied to the email address, since I was able to retrieve some of my posts through their automated service. I gave them the email and the URL to my profile to begin with, but they say they couldn't find it because they didn't want to right a wrong. What else would you expect from the perpetrators in on it? Right, and listen, most social media companies never want to admit they're wrong. They never want to admit they're wrong. They'll say it was something automated, it was by mistake, it didn't happen, we can't find your email address. This is how all these social media companies operate. They refuse to answer his questions and when I can expect a resolution. They never had any intention of fixing anything or being held accountable. His questions and their lack of answers were removing their plausible deniability. I was patient as 40 days came and went. Their behavior showed he was being lied to. They couldn't find the account, but this was them trying to lie their way out of doing anything with it with plausible deniability. I did not give the benefit of the doubt. Not for something this important. This is what real victimization and re-victimization looks like. The withholding, the neglect, the lies, the repeated exposure to more covert abuse. I was not playing their game, following their rules. Instead, I was amassing evidence I was going to use to the fullest extent of the law. You see, I had one single lead, someone who would come to me as my work was really helping him out mere days before the account was censored and banned. At the time, he was already being targeted by her. She was already claiming he was bullying her, already being such a victim. Up to her victim mimicry tricks. Her post on February 13th, 2 days before my ban and censorship. Answer added by the original no contact coach, author expert on Narcissist. What are some signs that a person is lying about their military service or veteran status? How can somebody catch them in the lie? Very little detail or far too much. Dates don't correlate, and their posts are just not respectful or authentic. There's a guy here who said about bullying me who claims to be a veteran. No man from the forces would write such twaddle and attack a woman woman user he's never spoken to. Veterans are all respectful and kind, not bullies. All veterans? Every veteran? Oh, what do you... Listen, I respect veterans. I appreciate veterans 100%. Okay, but to say no veteran with that's just that is an insane statement to make. Now, I don't know if that leans towards narcissism or she's just an idiot. That is an insane statement to make. No veteran would be a bully, or no woman would attack a woman. Like, what? So the domestic violence on military bases is zero. Now, from how this is written and what I know about Paul, I believe Paul's over in the UK, and the way she wrote on her page, she seems like she's European as well. Okay, but I know on American military bases and in the American military, all we keep hearing about how it's not a safe place for women. Women are under attack. Women are under attack of sexual assault. Like, so what are we talking about here? And I guarantee you it's no different if I checked over in the UK in their media about this issue. This pedophile was, and I hope there's evidence that she's a pedophile. I hope there is. This pedophile was reporting all his posts to shut him down, and that included shares of my posts. That's how the pedophile learned of me and saw me as a threat, reported my post, and caused my account to get banned and censored. Here's the proof. The dates add up. Narcissist, the lonely grifter. Victim mimics unknown narcissism is lethal to our society. When is it enough? Which hill are we going to die on? View our world in 10, 20, 30 years from now and think of our children's future. It isn't pretty with the current trajectory. Narcissist analysis. Check the victim mimics' main methods of lying. Liars are not uncommon. Most people are just that easily fooled by lies as long as it's what they want to hear. The mental filter of comfort is all too... Okay. When the account was censored, you couldn't tell, but I remembered. Narcissist's lonely monster. Victim mimics unknown narcissism is lethal to our society. When is it enough? Which hill are we going to die on? View our world. Okay, that's what I just read. Item was deleted. So yes, it was beyond a reasonable doubt. She was beyond a reasonable doubt guilty of pushing that report button and crying spam to destroy my presence on Quora. She's also a convicted statutory rapist and convicted stalker and under rule of law. So despite what excuses they come up with, they're fact-based, convicted, and are a bully. Please do your own research by simply Googling Lucy Hoggy or Scottish Come Dine With Me with winner slept with friend's 15-year-old child, and just read the articles, for which there are many. All right, let's look at this. I don't want to deal with your shitty. I'm not dealing with your shitty cookies. Sorry. Hold on. Oh, Daily Record, Independent. I mean, there's links all over the place. So she was a come dine with me. Alright, so come dine with me winner admits to having sex with her friend's 15-year-old son, Lucy Haggerty. Yeah, that's the same girl. Okay. Pleaded guilty in April to bombarding her former boyfriend's ex-partner with online abuse. Come dine with me winner has admitted to having sex with her friend's 15-year-old son. Okay, she's a pedophile. Thank you. That's all I needed. That's all I wanted to know. Before I start you calling people the worst thing you could be called, I just want to make sure. Okay, so she's a fucking pedophile giving narcissistic abuse advice. And this is this is dangerous. This is what my fear was, and I knew this was going to happen. And the real problem is now, okay, in 2023, there's the push to normalize pedophilia and make this no longer a big deal, to make it legal. Like, what's your problem? Kids can consent? No, they can't. Especially not a 15-year-old. So miss me with that. And miss me, there's a difference between boys and girls, and boys love it and girls. No, it fucks boys up royally. It turned out I was right to investigate her account. She was high as a kite off the abuse, destroying my account. Someone she hadn't even known about before. Because look, what you're dealing with here, Paul, okay, is a narcissistic, sociopathic pedophile that had to face accountability. So now her main goal in life is enacting revenge on anybody she possibly can. And to protect the lie and to protect and hide the truth. So like when the narcissist and this type of person, this type of sociopath gets called out and gets exposed and has to face consequences, they are then going to turn around and project those consequences on anybody they can find 10 to 100-fold. My destruction was feeding her ego, that she held power around here. I learned Quora is all about victim mimics, abusing others to make more victims. Quora feeds off it. It's all about social status, not truth, and not victim status being one of the most rewarding social statuses to obtain. In that particular post, Catch the Victim Mimics Main Methods of Lying, I talked about masking. They mask themselves to become a character in a play. No truth or lies exist as they recite their lines from their truth script. What they say and do, it's all for show, a performance, by acting out a character that would believe itself to the truth. They can now believe they are telling the truth. They are not lying, they are acting. In reality, they are still lying about things, but as they are pretending to be in character, it makes them convincing. Please understand, this is not empathy. They are not trying to experience how the actor would feel. They are simply mimicking victims, even their own, which can be mirroring someone. Aggressive mimicry is part of this. They bait and taunt and mock, poorly imitate, and attract and lure you into a false sense of security. The victim mimics others. Now look at her answer under 2 hours before the complete censorship of myself. Answer added by the original no contact coach. If the covert narcissist suffers from insecurity and a sense of inferiority, how can he simultaneously have a great image of himself? This is an image, a concrete belief, or is this image a concrete belief or an impossible desire? It's called masking. Well, this was her answer. Her user status changed by Quora moderation. Quora moderation banned polymath from Quora. Coincidence after coincidences, huh? The guilty bitch wrote this less than 2 hours before my ban. She read my post and marked it as spam as her little thank you. Then, a bit later, the account gets banned. That answer of hers covered masking in a way that is super uncommon. So we already can so we already can reason she scanned his profile, found my post, read my post, and magically I get reported for spam and censored to hell. It's 100% her. Anyone who could or would have seen my posts or answers, those would have been helped. Those would have been helped. She robbed them of that. And look, and you got to understand something, Paul. I mean, you're swimming in shark-infested waters online. I mean, this is what these people do. I mean, they flag the shit out of your accounts. They try to get you taken down. I mean, this comes with the territory. Anyone who could or would have seen my posts or answers knows those would have helped. She robbed them of that. Welcome to what Quora is really about, enabling and protecting abusers from their victims, a total inversion of justice and fairness, and that's what evil is, purposely wronging the right and never righting a wrong. And mere days later, she's indirectly admitting to reporting his post while falsely accusing him of lies and bullying. A complete Darvo. Put together, this is more than enough circumstantial evidence she's 100% guilty of destroying my account. Well, either her or she's having her followers do it. You got to remember, these people have flying monkeys. These people have armies of little flying monkeys that do their bidding for them as well. The original no contact coach. A sad loss, Nellie the elephant. A sad loss. Caught telling lies and bullying a woman. Poor Nellie. Yes, the upturn in misdemeanors is down to reports about your vile content. Pick up your trunk and trot back to the monkeys in the circus. Every time you post my pic, name, or links about me, you will be marked up. Lose your precious Quora or carry your vendetta. Up to you, Nellie Ellie. Don't ever think you control me, mate. Ever. Lose your precious Quora or carry on your vendetta. Up to you, Nellie Ellie. As if I was ever given a choice. This victim mimic hurts whoever they want to hurt. But this is what I'm telling you. She's doing this because she had to face consequences. She was publicly humiliated in British media as being a pedophile. So she's looking to enact revenge on anybody she can. I had done nothing regarding her, talking to her about any of my public writings, but exposing victim mimics itself has taken personally by her because she is one. Also, vile was a word used to describe her by a judge sheriff, so she projects it onto her victims because that's what narcissists do. Yes. So I'm glad you figured that out. She is now, instead of being the criminal, she has now donned the judge's robe, and now she's going to go out and judge everybody and enact sentencing on everybody. Because she had to face consequences. They mirror you to bait you and taunt and troll and mock and disarm and infuriate. Projection is how they all tell on themselves because they're shifting rightful blame off themselves onto someone else. She did what narcissists do because she is one. And it gets worse. Getting rid of my influence made her feel big and strong because she's the bully, the aggressor, the convicted pedophile, for fuck's sake. And I had to post about pedos and victim mimics, about how they're sometimes one and the same. Look how I was proven completely right on that one. Also, the circus is on her mind because that what she remembers what was on my profile. The clown castle picture. She gleefully sabotaged the guilty criminal mind, telling on itself from reminiscing about doing and getting away with bad deeds, all of it empowering her egopathy. This picture was in my profile description and visible there for months. I remember. I think it was on YouTube because I've seen that picture before. When she thinks of me, she thinks of that picture. The obsessive sadists love to know just how much pain and damage they've caused. They also know how powerful they are over you. Here's my question, though. If she's a convicted pedophile, how is she able to leave the country and go to Greece? Because you got to go, or is Greece a part of your, I mean, because I know if you're a convicted pedophile, you can't leave the United States. They're not going to let you into Canada. They're not going to let you into Mexico. I mean, if you go through a border, they're not. I don't know if it works like that over there. Probably not. I mean, the way you got migrant, I mean, it's a mess. I mean, it's all a mess. So who knows? The obsessive sadists love to know just how much pain and damage they cause. They like knowing how powerful they are over you. They like thinking about how they can, did, and will continue hurting you. Sadism is but one of the dark traits that feeds this egopathy of theirs. She knows how to idealize and how to tell people what they want to hear about themselves. Okay, the original no contact coach. What do you do when a narcissist tries to put you back in your place? I just laugh, as narcissists always lose in the end. They don't have the brain capacity or intelligence to stay on script in a smear campaign or keep their temper when they're outed or even stop abusing someone clearly stronger and more powerful. They push and always slip up, and that way we have power, and no matter how hard the narc tries, they undermine us. Victims always win. See, I mean, that's kind of, that's really telling on herself. I mean, she's like almost threatening. She's like she's almost threatening in her answer. Victims always win, so why would she ever do bad behavior towards others if she really believes that? Because she doesn't. You'll see later on in this post what she really thinks of her victims and victims in general. Narcissists are so evil, sometimes the victim doesn't win at all. Take the 4-year-old child who was murdered by her father, Chris Watts. She put up boundaries. Daddy no, but Daddy strangled her to death anyway. Victims always win is a fantasy, not reality. They are monsters and deserve to be called what they are. When will a real victim ever be unraped or unmurdered or untraumatized for life? Where's this justice for them if they always win? I know why she said something so untrue, not just because she wants to tell others what they want to hear, but because she was talking about herself. It was a humble brag. Victims, especially me, always win. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. It was her answer was telling because it was a threat. She was under the mask of being a victim, which she's not. It's all about them. Everything is about them and their goddamn victim status. They'll do anything to feed their ego and get some sip of that victim status. Additionally, this is a prime example of false duality, of a zero-sum mindset. If narcissists always lose, then someone else must always win. No, the reality is the murdered victims don't win anything when or if the narcissist loses. They stay murdered regardless of what happens afterward to the narcissist. But the fact isn't as comfortable as a lie can be. She also lies out of her lying liar hole. Meanwhile, you've got the perpetrator all pleased with plausible deniability. Quora offers to attack others anonymously without the public or the target knowing. Just the abuser and Quora itself that can withhold information from the victim and keep the abuser's abuse their special dirty little secret. And now guess what? Now with my post outing this evil bitch, she can claim her favorite thing in the whole wide world. Victim status. Yeah, you're kind of giving her what she wants. But I understand why you're trying to call her out. What's not to love about Quora is if you're a victim mimic. What's not to love about Quora if you're a victim mimic? Just like she did with Nellie Bryan soon after, claiming he's a bully around here. And if he's the bully, why isn't her account banned instead of mine? It's because she's a liar, guilty of Darvo, deny, accuse, reverse victim, and offender. Remember when I said you'll see what she thinks of her victims? Here it comes. This is what she thinks of her victims after she devalues them. This is what she tells herself to reassure herself she won't pay any price for her wrongdoings. How do narcissists get away with what they do to their victims? 2 reasons. Victims go so nuts no one believes them, or victims are weak-ass fuckers and crawl off into corners. Well, weak-ass fuckers? I would be nicer. It would be better to say because victims are so abused, they don't have the courage or the self-esteem to fight back. Are weak ass fuckers. Seems predatory. Seems pretty predatory to me. She's completely devoid of empathy for real victims, a fake victim, but a real bully. In my writings, I wrote how they don't care about real victims because if they did, they'd never pretend to be one. Put two and two together. And then add that to her accidental guilt of admission and her bio description. I specialize in MPD abuse, but feel my personal experiences of stalking, rape, sexual abuse, coercive control, financial abuse, false allegations, triangulation are what enhance understanding narcs. And so when she's talking about rape, is she talking about the rape she pulled off? Because it's technically accurate. She's not saying who raped who. She specializes not in healing from NPD abuse, just straight up NPD abuse. So where do I fit in here? I'm crazy, or I'm weak, or a weak ass fucker. The answer is both, because it's whatever suits her narrative best at the time. It's exactly what she does to her victims, labels them as such. Exactly. I don't think he's quite 100% well. I read his bio and other answers. There's some paranoid schizophrenia in there. He emailed a prominent Quora member 5 pages. The email about was me. 5 pages the email about me was. Lots lies and some old truth. Nellie made an error. That Quora member is my friend. He knows me. Barked up the wrong tree for a flying monkey. He's nuts, he's paranoid, he's schizo, all labels used by abusers to discredit the real victim. She also admitted her friend is her flying monkey. Hint, normal people don't call their friend a flying monkey. She used that sluggish schizophrenia tactic Stalin used to discredit and silence his victims. Speaking of Stalin, narcs don't let go of their victims. That's not what they do. They destroy and erase them. The Hebrew curse Yimika Shemo v. Sekiro, translated, may his name be erased, may his name and memory be erased, in this famous picture. But this is what I'm saying. This is why narcissism is driven by communism and Marxism. Unless part of it can still give the victim mimic status, but when that runs out of time, for the next one. Her line of false hope masks her evil, that victims always win. Let's explore that. A fine example of victims always win, especially when they're murder victims or covert abortions, where you can say it was a miscarriage and X is to blame. That's the real fun one. Victim mimics are capable of such evil. They are evil, pure evil, but not quite that evil. Doesn't add up. Just because their type of evil is often underestimated doesn't mean it isn't pure evil. And yes, mimicry may be playing a role in your perception of it being not pure evil when in fact it is. Mimics in particular will defame your reputation in such a way to maximize gains on their victim status at the cost of your own, using their victim mimicry. Victim mimics are always on the hunt for more victim status, and that means knowing how to be a victim of someone else. They've studied certain personality types and have mirrored their favorites the most. Take, for example, what's on her mind at the time, because she was obsessively stalking Nellie's profile. This is Nellie. Survived and thrived after. What hurts a narcissist forever? Narcissists, like all individuals, have their own unique vulnerabilities and pain points. However, some common ways that can hurt a narcissist being... Okay. How did the narcissist get so broken inside? I normally answer these questions with my professional hat on, but it's Saturday night and I'm generally very over people trying to excuse narcs and understand the poor, rotten souls they have. I am an expert in why narcs do what they do. I have a podcast, book, Insta, and YouTube channel. Right now, in this moment, I want to say this. Narcs are scum, evil, predatory, psychopathic, life-ruining scum. Sounds like she's drunk here and probably telling on herself again. They choose to abuse. They choose They enjoy victims' pain. They don't want change. If mommy hurt them, daddy left, or they were bullied and abused, I don't give a fuck. These people don't deserve a Quora thread. They don't deserve oxygen. They don't deserve empathy. They don't deserve interest. They don't deserve hate. They deserve hate and apathy. That's what hurts them. And what she is doing is she is sentencing everybody. Well, this is what she does. She sentences everybody for the crimes she's guilty of. This is what she does. Because she had to face accountability, she is now sentencing everybody else to the crimes she is in fact guilty of. The last line there, that's what hurts them. I know what was on her mind in the moment. She's still peering at Nellie's profile and keeps seeing his pinned message, specifically the question in bold, what hurts a narcissist forever? But it's weird that just questions on her thread is what's triggering her. I mean, that's a pretty what hurts a narcissist forever. Would trigger her unless she's a narcissist and doesn't want to give out the, Just like with me, the circus was on her mind because of that pic of a clown with a circus castle on the Paul Polymath profile page. Same goes for Nellie's pinned answer. During day 16 of the ban, March 3rd, 2023, I came across a bonus brag. The self-proclaimed empath gave me more to say. What a perfect tell me without telling me when it's about herself. Tell me something about yourself without telling me it's about yourself, aka projection. Answer added by no narcissist. What narcissist is the most dangerous? Malignant, covert, sneaky, sadistic, long-term abusers, predators, bullies, innately jealous, psychopathic. It's these types who stalk and enjoy the agony of their victims and can do it for years. This is what I was up against. So how the hell did I get unbanned? Simple. I gathered up the evidence, showed him with a post in Quora itself, and those involved at Quora got scared. They did not do the right thing because it was the right thing to do. They did it because they're cowards and feel real consequences coming from them. I'll tell you what, because she was out, I'll tell you why, because she was out bragging that she had one of the Quora members on her side, and you had it. This is why. That's why they unbanned it, because they knew you had it. And now they have one of their members who is publicly supporting a convicted pedophile. So that's a problem. That's a problem they don't want to, that's a rabbit hole they don't want to go down. I got more direct about Quora support moderation because you know what makes more sense to me about why they won't answer any of my questions or keep me updated. When the only thing they're investigating is my account history is to find an excuse to allow the abuse that was committed against my account on Quora. They're not interested in helping me. They've made that clear from the start. No, I'm being denied any victim status, which leaves me with nothing. You see, evil choices aren't always that complex. Sometimes it's so simple, it's literally the opposite of choosing right over wrong. They had every chance to choose right, but they chose wrong on it on purpose. Why? More like, why not? That's what evil people do. They refuse to do the right thing. They know what the right thing to do is, and they decide, fuck you, because they can. They could at any time choose to help, but they don't, because no one is forcing them to, and no consequences seem likely for them. They think they're untouchable. They think they're top dog. But you know what I learned about coward bullies over the years? When real authority gets involved, when they do piss off the wrong people, what do have power over them because they thought their abusive mind game lying bullshit would go undetected or unpunished. They squeal like a stuck piggy. I'm going to let their bosses know. I'll send him or her a copy of the bullshit I put up with. And whatever happens, happens. I don't think they'll be so pleased with themselves then. Another prediction by yours truly. Is this a song? Okay, I got you.
Too bad that you had to get caught. That's not like you to lose face. So sad that you
Gotcha. so we don't gotta listen to the whole song. I don't want to get a copyright on that. Too bad you had to get caught. That's not like you to lose face. So sad you're not as smart as you thought you were in the first place. Day 21 of the ban, March 8th, 2023. They would never do that. Equals victim status is assured. Like I mentioned earlier about covert abortions and blaming it on others that they caused the miscarriage. If your reaction is they'd never do that, it only tells the victim mimic their status victim is assured. No one can call them out on their bullshit. No one can hold them accountable. That's what they count on happening. So if you think Quora support would never do abusive mind game bullshit to real victims, lie to them about locating accounts, try to amass plausible deniability as possible, collude and conspire with abusers on using the platform, and completely refuse and deny any and all help the victims deserve and ask for. Well, I gotta ask you though here. I mean, this is all going down 2022, 2023. Like, you thought Quora was any different than any other social media company? I mean, based on what you've seen going on the last 10 years with these social media companies, should any of this really be that surprising that they protect abusers? Every one of them was doing it, including Twitter up until Elon Musk took over. It's what they do. Social media is the narcissist playland. What does that tell the victim mimic? That their victim status is assured. That's what it tells them. I mean, they would never try to ensure plausible deniability for assured victim status, right? I don't find it strange in the least that Quora support hasn't responded back after 3 days and 3 nights. All of these are business days, weekends too, no weekends here. Am I to believe they haven't gotten to it yet? Last time they got back to me within 24 hours. It depends. I mean, I've had YouTube get back to me within an hour, and I've had them take 2 weeks. It depends. Like, you don't know whose screen it's coming across. And there's no accountability because they do everything in secret, and that's the frustrating part. And that's what allows a lot of these narcissists to thrive and hide. I think they did read it, but they chose not to respond because it could be so hard to keep stacking up lies like a Jenga tower. The lies create holes to keep the narrative going, to have all the lies still hold strong to the tiniest scrutiny and the tiniest gust of truth and evidence. It gets harder and harder to keep up the facade. Keep the pressure up and the narrative lies crumbles. I figure the current narrative status on lies catching up to them is about here as well as their behavior of still trying to maintain it. Difference is their face isn't full of blocks, so what's their invalid excuse this time for not getting back to me? Still can't locate the account, still reviewing why they can't locate the account. Are they reviewing the review about not locating account? I'm not buying it. Everything points to them siding with the abuser, with being in on the abuse. How am I not supposed to think they will protect the pedophiles and not their victims at all costs? After this, the Paul Polymath account remains banned, not because they can't find or unban it. Rather, it remains banned because they choose not to. They chose to neglect doing the right thing. That's my analysis based on the evidence. Nothing gets the message to a victim that they are unworthy quite as well as neglect. They use neglect as part of the devalue cycle, and make no mistake, it can have a devastating outcome for the recipient. Neglect is abuse, except perpetrators' hands are clean. Except the perpetrator's hands are clean, but now with everything else I've talked about, upon closer inspection, they aren't clean at all. You just aren't allowed to see their hands, and also have to take their non-existent word for it that they are just doing their job. Day 30 of the ban. And here's what I would say is your major mistake here, Paul. You're too far into the weeds with this person, okay? She is a convicted pedophile. There is a litany of stories about her being a convicted pedophile. That is the only narrative that is important really here. That is that she's running you have a convicted pedophile running a narcissism channel. That should have been, and should have been your hammer, and you should have kept hammering with it in every question. She is a convicted pedophile with links to the story, pictures of her, mugshots, whatever you can get your hands on. That is the story. When you get deep into the weeds like this, you're giving these social media companies an excuse to, like, oh, this is involved, this is intricate, like, this is the issue that helped them mask it and helped it and made this carry on for so long. Day 30 of the ban, March 17th, 2003. Still no reply. After a bit of reflecting on all this, I came to a realization. Can you believe the bullshit excuse they give? They couldn't locate the banned and censored account. That was their lie, and they stuck to it. For 30 days and counting, they've stuck to the same lie and gave me the silent treatment. I'm sure if I started sending in a request every day for a status update, guess what? I'll be distracting them. A catch-22 lose-lose for me right from the start, double blind. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. They're so damn guilty. Below is the message I submitted to Quora support for all of them to witness. It's been 25 days since I was last contacted by Quora support on banning my account. It's been 33 days I've been wrongfully permanently banned and censored. Why have requests 17 and not been resolved by now? Let me answer this. And the problem is the more you contact them, the more they could say you're irrational, you're harassing them. Let me answer this. It's clear whoever Yuri is, they sided with the trolls who got me banned and have decided to do whatever tactics to me, such as withholding, silent treatment, stonewalling, future faking, and ghosting. Yuri, you should be ashamed of siding with a convicted pedophile over me. And that should be every time. That should be in every one of your emails. Why are you letting convicted pedophiles run narcissism blogs and have the people who try to call her out banned? That should be, like, don't overcomplicate. This is simple, Paul. This is simple. Why are you, Quora, allowing a convicted pedophile, and I would have the link to all the stories in every one of these. Why are you, Quora, allowing a convicted pedophile to run an anti-narcissism blog and have other people's blogs shut down? That should be the only question you're asking. You have when you get into the weeds of victim mimicry, and like, I get that that's for narcissism blogs and narcissism people, but you're dealing with Quora themselves. The only question should be, why are you allowing a convicted pedophile to operate on Quora and have other blogs banned? That's it. What is your answer? That should be in every one of your emails. You should be ashamed of siding with a convicted pedophile over me. Your actions should indicate you're not ashamed at all, and that's all the more reason you should be. Yeah, Yuri, I did some investigating. I put together who destroyed my hard-earned legacy on Quora. Yuri knew right from wrong, and Yuri chose on the wrong on purpose. What will your bosses think of that? Don't complain. You've earned what's coming to you. You made your choice, Yuri. You made it every day, and you knew I deserved justice and denied me. We can't locate your account, my ass, even though I could request a copy of my data and get most of it back. Even though the account URL Paul Polyma still works to see the account on Quora. You're a liar, Yuri, and you got caught lying and never answered my questions, knowing full well you got caught and decided to just quietly weasel your way out of it. Not this time, Yuri. They'll know which employee damaged Quora's reputation and who banned and censored my account in the first place. You can't hide from them, Yuri. We are currently reviewing your request, and we should be back in touch as soon as we're done. Clearly, you didn't keep your word, Yuri, you filthy little liar. What a sick joke at the victim's expense by Yuri the liar. Maybe it will be a bit funny once Yuri becomes Yuri the fired. Yuri, you fucking lying piece of shit. I wrote a haiku in your dishonor. Little fucking liar sided with evil yet again and gets what's coming. Your real person's stout self is tied to the ticket regardless of your alias. They'll know what you've done and didn't do. Still feel untouchable? Good. I hope your getting fired comes as a big shock to you and shatters your delusions of grandeur like you deserve, you worthless little liar. I'd be surprised if they actually fired this person. Sincerely, one of your victims. Looks like Yuri the untouchable weasel isn't so untouchable. You fuck with me, you pay the price, stupid game, win stupid prizes. The Paul Polymath account will remain banned and censored because that's what they want. It's not about right or wrong, it's about winning victim status. So there's no victim status, and I'm banning and uncensoring my account regardless of doing it because the right thing to do, then the right thing isn't happening. And the victim of the victim mimic is left with nothing, especially not any victim status or justice resulting from it. The victim mimic made sure of that. Quora moderation and Quora support are in on the abuse of that. There is no doubt. What a failure of a website that promises to grow knowledge when in reality they censor you because a convicted pedophile and their flying monkeys maliciously mass report your post because it exposed all of them, and they knew it. So they dealt with it as you'd expect from an evil person by doing evil. When you become a victim of the victim mimic is left with nothing. To conclude my business with Quora moderation, there is one thing they didn't take from me, something I actually want to take from them, something I want them to take. Please, Quora moderation and those involved in abuse, take all the fucks I can give and use it to go fuck yourselves forever. That is what undoubtedly got me unbanned the day after I posted this. Their fear of consequences to themselves and not their virtue. User status changed by Quora moderation. Quora moderation restored Paul Polymath's privileges on Quora. User status changed by Quora moderation. Quora moderation banned Polymath from Quora. Conclusion. After presenting my case publicly on Quora with another account, this account was unbanned and uncensored. Once unbanned, it was clearly only a matter of time before the victim mimic rapist went after me again. Remember, I was targeted by this attacker, and they were successful in banning and censoring my entire account. During those 41 days, I figured who the attacker was, I figured out how complicit Quora support and Quora moderation were, and I was validated that, in fact, my account could be located, especially after they uncensored and unbanned it. A surprise victory I did not see coming. I celebrated this victory no matter how short-lived I knew it would be, for I knew without a shadow of a doubt I would incur the wrath of the evil bitch herself. I wasn't finished business any longer. No, I became an escaped slave that needed to be put back in their place. A victim no longer silenced who can expose her. She will correct that given time. Malignant narcissists are remorseless and relentless, and in her particular case, she has a criminal record of stalking her victims and failing to abide by certain court orders. Something about breaching some communication act, and had to stand trial for it recently. So I decided no matter how short-lived this victory, I'd not cower away, hoping she'd never find out I was back, hoping the Nazi wouldn't recheck the attic, so to speak. Instead, I gave her the demon Edergin treatment on March 28th, 2023. Dear victim mimic, you falsely reported me for spam. You even got the account banned, but now things have turned around and the truth is out about you, you lying ass clown. No money would be enough for me to allow you to suck my cock. On top of that, on top of a hard no, you are a vile pedophile, a convicted pedo, now forever blocked. Remember when I said the only way you win is not to play their game? You know, you're trying to enact some kind of justice on this woman that she's enacting on herself. You got your account back. You proved your case. You gave her the rope. Let her hang herself with it. Don't keep putting yourself out there to make yourself look like you're the aggressor too, that you're part of the problem, Paul. Then around a week and a half later, April 6th, I suddenly got an email about how Quora support is always there to help and support me. Knowing this can't be a coincidence, I immediately checked out the guilty person's edit log to see what they were writing about around the time, and lo and behold, the beautiful tale of theirs is revealed. It was her most recent answer on April 6th, mere hours before Quora sent me the email. You sure that's just not an automated email that they send to everybody? The no-contact coach expert on narcissism. Can a narcissist get better after hitting rock bottom, going to prison, losing family? My narcs have hit rock bottom a few times, laughy face, and that according to them. And yet here they are today, shagging around, using people, smearing me, and still getting using other folks for money, housing, food, lifestyle, sex, and shit. Debt paid off because I looked after him in my home for 4 years. My narc one has apparently had 2 mental health breakdowns, been ruined by 2 women whom he gave houses to, and blames everyone for the fact that essentially without a bird around his mom's spare room in a high flat is his only option. My narc one has been to prison multiple times, taken every drug ever, often self-slashed. Still manages to have a main supply, side supply, and loads of sexting supplies on the go, and is still in a council flat, not seeing or paying for all 5 of his kids. These people survive anything and whine while they do, and blame others. There is never one iota of, okay, I shouldn't have cheated, or I should have lied, or you should have reported me, or I'm working on myself, ever. Did you catch it? You should have reported me. That's clearly about what she did to me and how she believes I should behave in response. Yes, how dare I tell her no, even if it's no, you can't suck my cock. In her mind, I should have praised her on her how right she was that she maliciously reported my post as spam on my own admin space to destroy my legacy and influence, and worked so hard on Quora for an entire year. This is how delusional and victim status seeking they really are, how greedy and entitled the narcissist is, how all the victim status is theirs for the taking. What other logic would you expect from a rapist? That is not their behavior, that's their problem. It's your attitude and unwillingness to let them have their way with you. I'm interested in olliemathews from Narcissism Analysis, what you expect from Quora, and should you invest your time and money into it. Thank you so much, Ollie, for taking the time to read this. Sincerely, Paul Polymath. Look, Paul, I mean, I don't think you should be able to expect anything from any of these social media companies, regardless of what they say. Because they're mostly run by people who are seeking power over other people. It's another haven for narcissism. My criticism here would be you're too far into the weeds. You are dealing with a convicted pedophile. You got the receipts. The receipts are all online. They're all over the internet. 15-year-old. Stick to that. Stick to, like, once you got pedophilia, I mean, what else do you need to prove past that point? All these media companies do the same thing, and it's a tough pill to swallow when it's happening to you. And believe me, it has happened to me on numerous sites. I got Ollie Matthews YouTube channels. I got Ollie Matthews Reddit threads. I got my videos being flagged. I've been reported to every fucking agency in Florida and the federal and the federal government. I mean, I've been for everything and everything I have been accused of. You can't expect the narcissist will use anything in their tool bag. You are dealing with, and what you have to realize, you are dealing with a narcissist that had to face consequences. And now what she wants to do is she wants to censor everybody else for the consequences she had to face. Once you had nothing, and here's what she doesn't want to tell anybody, and this is what you have to understand. When it's like, how do you defeat a narcissist? How do you really get to them? How do you get back at them? You get back at them by fucking ignoring them. By cutting off their fucking supply. Even when they have your account taken down for 30 days. And that sucks, and I understand how fucking frustrating that must be. And that is. As somebody who has had lost videos, gotten hate strikes, completely fucking demonetized, I get it. I get it. But when you don't acknowledge them, when you don't give them the supply, you are giving them the rope to hang themselves with. When you're here telling her to suck your cock and you can't suck my cock and all this, you're playing the game with her. You're still playing the game trying to one-up her, and you don't understand. You're not understanding fully the game. Once you've exposed her as a pedophile, so you can expose her without talking directly to her. I have never gone on somebody else's page that is a narcissist that I'm trying to expose. I expose them on my own page without ever acknowledging them directly. The only way and once it's out, it's out. The only way to win is not to play the game. And when you don't play the game, she's gonna escalate. See, when you got your account back, the move was just to start posting by yourself. Just post as you would again normally. And watch her have her narcissistic spiral breakdown. And watch her get more and more desperate. And watch her blow herself up. Because what you got to do is you got to just give them the rope to hang themselves with. So, I hope that helps. But thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you to Tier for partially sponsoring, and thank you for the story. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with either the Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, and email links in the description box below. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. Also, be sure to subscribe to both my Rumble channels. Follow me on Twitter and Telegram as well. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Societal Narcissism. Take care, everyone.